What up, cuties? Rap music. Is it truly revolutionary or all talk? This is Marx on the mic. What you get when hip-hop and communism collide? Marx on the mic. For those who are new, what's good? Marx on the mic is a show where we talk about hip-hop from a Marxist perspective. For those who have been here since episode 1, y'all mean the world to me. Much love. Now, when it comes to Marx on the mic, we've talked a lot about contradictions. Rap in of itself is a contradiction. It can be used for revolution as well as against revolution. And why is that? Let's see what our friend Mao has to say. Let us consider the first problem. In the world today, all culture, all literature, and art belong to definite classes and are geared to definite political lines. There's in fact no such thing as art for art's sake, art that stands above classes, or art that is detached from or independent of politics. Now that's pretty straightforward because Mao's writing style is smooth as butter. As we've seen, when it comes to rap, even booty shake songs are political. And that's because tracks either enforce capitalist ideology or work against it. And even neutrality or refusing to be political is a political position, because it means you condone at least 20 million easily preventable deaths a year. But doesn't a lot of rap already talk about revolution? And not just how revolutionary rap styles are, but truly about changing the world. In most cases, this is actually a perfect example of the commodification of the word revolution. I mean, Che Guevara actually helped achieve a socialist revolution, yet capitalists are still making a shit ton of money from his image. Using the word revolution without specifying what you mean is actually pretty empty and even helpful to capitalists. Because the thing folks take from this is, look, our system's not oppressive at all. We can talk about even overthrowing it and not be repressed. While in the meantime, streaming revolution without a plan is fairly meaningless and not a threat to the system at all. One thing to specify is that Marxists would say that we need a proletarian, a working class revolution. After the French Revolution, for example, it was the bourgeoisie that oppressed the working class instead of kings. So for average folks, shit still sucked. To avoid that, a lot of Marxists see a true revolution as where the working class takes power by means of an armed rebellion. After this, there would be socialism where the workers own production. There would also be a true democracy where people in positions of power are recallable, and those positions are also constantly rotating. Once that's in place, there'd be a transition to a system known as communism, which would abolish the state as well as probably money. And this is the only system that would truly guarantee equality. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it yet. And if all this shit is making you curious, you should check out what kind of organizations there are around you. But for now, let's get back to hip-hop. So why is rap so attractive to revolution? Well, rap has given a voice to oppressed folks worldwide. It started out in the South Bronx, but marginalized people all over the planet have been able to use it. So hip-hop started out in very specific material conditions, but it has a universality to it. But I don't believe that giving a voice to the oppressed is the crucial element to hip-hop. It's the fact that it's so damn danceable. Whether it's playable in a club, concert, or if it just has that bounce. The balance between lyrics and music is unique in rap. Somebody could drop 5 minutes of crazy lyrics and it would still be danceable if correctly executed. There's a lot of space to be lyrical and drop mobilizing slogans. There's also space to explain difficult concepts in an easy and accessible way. Although rap can be cryptic and is beautiful when it is, it absolutely doesn't have to be. And the same goes for slogans with graffiti. But the beautiful thing is that hip-hop has also given us a dance that goes along with these slogans. Now it's dope that we can dance to music that teaches us about our own oppression. But if it wouldn't put us to action, that's a pretty depressing thought. It means we just dance to how shitty things are with no end in sight. But if rap music mobilizes us to take action and start a revolution, while dancing and celebrating at the same time, there's nothing more empowering I can think of. Now I've talked about revolution quite a bit here on Marx on the mic. Fred Hampton, a former chairman of the Black Panthers, had the following to say about it. A lot of people get the word revolution mixed up and they think revolution's a bad word. Revolution is nothing but like having a sore on your body and then you put something on that sore to cure that infection. The disease, capitalism. The cure, class struggle. And the class struggle is simply a fight between the oppressors and the oppressed. A part of this is of course armed struggle, like how colonized countries literally fought to become independent. But the class struggle is bigger than that. Because it's capitalists and bosses that oppress the working class, anything you do to counter that counts as class struggle. If you take a shit at work so you won't have to flip burgers, that's class struggle. The exciting part is that it involves music as well. If you make a song about how the working class gets exploited by capitalists, that's class struggle too. And we can't separate those things. Unfortunately, saying fuck you to your boss or making a hot anti-capitalist song won't achieve much on its own. But if you see it as a part of class struggle as a whole with the goal of mobilizing for revolution, fighting revolution, and winning revolution, then it becomes integral. A revolution just can't do without cultural class struggle, without socialist musicians, filmmakers, and painters. And there's so much potential for rap music to contribute to liberation. Hot 16s don't exist in a vacuum. They either support capitalist ideology or they don't. You can't escape it. And every revolution had its own artist in the biggest sense that supported the class struggle in their own way. Now, as we've seen on this show, so much of hip-hop has been co-opted by capitalism. And now it's the job of working class folks to take it back. So this is a shout out to all graffiti writers who are risking jail sentences just to say fuck you to the state and property. This goes out to all the breakers who say fuck you to costly classical training and have built up beautiful and kinetic art by building off of what's around them, taking bits from kung fu movies to James Brown performances. Shout out to DJs, beatmakers, and rappers who use their music to uncover oppression and lead the way to liberation. And on an individual level, hip-hop has given me so much. It's given me an outlet and a worldview rooted in defiance. And for everybody who feels the same, the only way to repay it is to make it belong to the working class again. Now, this isn't about keeping hip-hop pure with regards to skills or whatever. There should be room for all kinds of art. I'm looking at you, mumble rap haters. But I'm talking about a hip-hop culture that fosters mental and material health for communities instead of individuals. So rap and hip-hop can mobilize for revolution, but even after revolution, I believe it can help folks achieve self-liberation. It's a culture rooted in fighting oppression after all. Take ciphers, for example. Whether they're filled with folks breaking or rapping, they're without class hierarchies and invite everyone to participate. As society will focus more on building community after the revolution, so will hip-hop. It's both for the community and the individual. It's a culture of cooperation. At the same time, you can't really do hip-hop without doing some self-exploration. By having hip-hop take care of communities and laying bare social injustices or personal grievances, individuals develop too. Hip-hop is all about developing your own style, your own train of thought, and your own creative, unique individuality, which you can then put in the community again. So inherent to hip-hop are already the tools for self-improvement, as well as connecting with folks around you. Now it's up to the proletariat to create the material conditions to be able to use them. We can't really know what proletarian art and proletarian hip-hop is going to look like after the revolution, only that it can help take us there. And that's equally exciting. The untapped potential of hip-hop as well as the boundaries it can cross. So in that way, hip-hop is a small reflection of the society it was born in. It arose beautifully within material conditions that limited it right after its birth. But inherent in it were also the tools for its liberation. And exactly the same goes for the working class. Capitalism has created a group of workers that all face the same type of oppression. But at the same time, the system also gives this group a unity, ability, and common goal to overthrow the oppressors and start a world of equality, unexplored psychological development, care, abilities to love, and one that's not built on violence. So there it is. This was Marx on the mic. Thank you so much for being here with me all this time. It's been a lot of work, but I love doing this. Now let me know if you want to see more of this type of series. Now this was a total experiment and my first Marxist analysis of hip-hop. I want to shout out Raheem, who's been an incredible help with this series, from checking out scripts and giving just advice overall. Also much love to Peanut, who just puts up with my shit in general. When it comes to Marx on the mic, any type of feedback is welcome. I like to encourage other people to take this material, build on it, shape it, reshape it, analyze it, and just do whatever the fuck you want with it. Please share this series with everybody who's interested in a different type of analysis of hip-hop, or who's interested in socialism or Marxism in general. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because there's so much more good stuff coming. Much love, comrades and friends. Peace, Space Baby out.